Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fabuloonsy's coming at your neck with another Destiny 2 video, and this right here is the best, and I mean it, the best Titan support build in the game. There's another one I want to try, but this one is just so good at keeping your team alive, keeping yourself alive. The amount of utility it provides is crazy. The amount of Titan bubbles I get is just insane, and the amount of orbs I generate. You guys will see in a second. I'm gonna put a picture up. I actually generated like almost double the amount of orbs my teammate generated. So let me just break down the build for you guys so you guys can understand. So for my subclass of choice, I'm picking Top Tree Sentinel, which is Code of the Protector, because it gives me a Titan bubble, and Titan bubble provides, provides protection, and it also provides a weapon buff. Where is it? Weapons of Light. It doesn't say here, but you get Weapons of Light, which is a damage buff to all your weapons. Plus you get Defensive Strike, keeps yourself alive. We're also rocking the Towering Barricade, which is the tall one, and I'm rocking Magnetic Grenades, which doesn't really matter. You can use whatever grenade you want, but the thing that is most important is utilizing the Towering Barricade and Top Tree Sentinel Titan. Okay, and we're also rocking Lumina. Now I just got this exotic and I'm really loving it. I don't know, I'm a little late to the party. Well, actually very late. This came out in Season of Opulence, but this exotic is just so good at providing utility and support and damage buffs to your team, because the noble rounds actually gives a 35% damage buff in PvE, and it also heals the ally you shoot. So you can dish out a pretty good amount of damage once you get that damage buff, because not only does it apply to your ally, it also applies to you. So this gun actually turns into a beast once you get, I think it's called Blessing of the Sky or something like that. It does a lot of damage. You can 2-tap a lot of enemies. There's some that you can even 1-tap. It's really powerful. Plus you can have I think it's up to 5 stacks of noble rounds, and then if you get the catalyst, which I'm working on right here, you get 2 remnants per final blow instead of just 1. So that's just, it gives you more noble rounds even faster. So another thing that made this build very powerful in endgame activity was I had an SMG that had Disruption Break on. What Disruption Break does is when you break an enemy's shield with this weapon, it makes them more vulnerable to kinetic damage for a brief period. So it's a debuff to the enemy, right? And I don't know how much it is, but it really weakens them. So if you have this, stacked it with the Blessing of the Sky with the 35% damage off that Lumina provides, you can actually shred down these champions, because it also applies to anti-barrier champions, not only elemental shields but the champions as well. So once you break them down with your SMG or any weapon that has Disruption Break, you swap to your kinetic, whatever it is, whether it's Lumina or if you have like a kinetic sniper or something like that, boom, you're gonna shred them immediately. So this perk is very good paired with an anti-barrier rounds mod. I was actually surprised at how much damage it did. So your heavy doesn't really matter. I was just using a solar grenade launcher, but this doesn't really matter for right now. But let me just go ahead and break these stats down. So I got 21 mobility, which I don't really care about mobility, but I had 100, and it's a flat 100 resilience, because once you have 100 resilience, your class ability, which is your Titan Barricade, is on a 14-second cooldown. I don't think you guys realize how fast that is, and I believe that the barricade's up for 15 seconds. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but for 14-second cooldown, your barricade is insanely fast. And then I have a couple of other mods that are going to tie in well, which is going to allow me to get my super back, but 100 resilience is a very key factor in this build. We're also rocking 44 recovery, which is 40 discipline, again another one is but then we have 56 intellect. Now I was trying to get this as high as possible. 56 is what I was able to get, but if you have some really god roll gear where it's really spiky and resilience and an intellect, then you can get this probably even to like 70 or 80, which is going to come in handy for this build, because that means more Titan bubbles, and more Titan bubbles means more protection for your team and more weapons of light, and also more orbs, because I'm rocking Crest of Alpha Lupi, which allows you to drop, I think normally the Titan bubble drops 2 orbs of light, but when you have it on, it drops 4. And then we're also rocking 15 strength. Alright, so let's go ahead and break down the gear now. Let's start with the helmet. I have a resilience mod because I'm trying to get to 100 resilience, and then we're rocking precision charge, because getting rapid final, well, it has to be precision kills with a hand cannon, bow, or scout rifle is going to make me become charged with light. Unfortunately, I am taking a bit of a hit to my strength, but that's okay. I'm not really worried about that. I just really like the fact that you can get charged with light just by simply landing precision kills with a hand cannon, which I am using Lumina, so it makes sense for me to use this. And on my gauntlets, we're running a discipline mod. I had this actually on a strength mod for a little bit, but I switched it to a discipline because I found myself using my grenade a lot more. And with this build, you're actually going to want to have your grenade a lot more, because I have some mods that utilize the grenades, generating super energy. So I have a discipline mod here, and then I have charged up, which allows for 1 additional stack of charge with light. Now I really wanted to get supercharged, which allows you to get 2 more stacks of light. Which is really good because of the energy converter mod I have on. Having 4 stacks is way better than just having 3. So if you can get supercharged, you can. Unfortunately, I didn't have an armor piece that allowed me to use supercharged, so I just went with charged up. And for my exotic armor piece of choice, we're rocking Crest of Alpha Lupi. Now I feel like this is another slept on exotic, maybe because it's old or something like that, or maybe because the armor perk doesn't really seem like a lot of people are interested, but I personally really like it. The armor perk that comes on it is generates an additional orb of light from supers, and a healing pulse and barricade is activated. Now again, I have my barricade on a 14-second cooldown, so that means that every 14 seconds I can heal people whenever they're near me or near my barricade, and plus my barricade is just beefier because I have 100 resilience. I'm also rocking a resilience mod on this, and I'm running counter charge, which means I become charged with light whenever a champion is staggered, disrupt, or pierces their barrier. And then I'm rocking hand cannon reserves just because I'm using Lumina. Now you actually can generate a lot of orbs of light from the Titan bubble. Normally, like I said, I think it's 2, but with this it allows it to become 4, which is 4 is a pretty good amount of orbs, you know, and it's the beefy ones that give you a lot of super energy. So on my legs, we actually have a very crucial mod on this. We have a resilience mod. And then we're also rocking energy converter. Now this is going to allow me to get my super, which is a Titan bubble, a lot faster, because whenever you use your grenade while you're charged with light, it consumes all the stacks and it gives you portions of your super back, and it's only up to about 50%. You can't do it once you're over 50. So if you're under 50%, you use this, you're gonna get a big chunk of super energy, which is very useful because the Titan bubble, as you guys know, is extremely powerful. Providing that weapon buff is really good, and providing protection for your team. If they're getting under pressure, they can slide in there, get weapons of light, chill out, get their health back, slide out, and do some damage. I really like this mod, and there's actually a lot of builds that you can do with this mod. So if you guys don't have it, get it already, start coming up with builds. And on my Titan mark, we're rocking a resilience mod and double dynamo mods, because I'm going to be running up to groups of enemy, popping my barricade and running back just to get that super energy. And it's actually a pretty decent chunk too. Like, looking at it, you guys have seen the gameplay, it's actually a pretty sizable chunk of super energy, and it's every 14 seconds I can do this whenever there's enemies nearby. So what I do a lot is I run up, just pop it and run away, just so I can get that super energy, and then if I can do it again, I'll do it again. You can generate a lot of super energy using this. And then we're also using shield break charge, become charged with light by breaking a combatant shield with a matching energy type. Now in the Nightfalls, of course, there is match game, I think that's what it's called. So, you know, you're going to be using elemental types to break shields anyway, so it kind of makes sense just to have this just another way to become charged with light. So when I initially started this run of this Nightfall, I was afraid I was going to be a little weak because I didn't have a special weapon to output that burst damage to take down some of these champions and knights and whatnot. But as I started going through this playthrough, I started to realize that I actually wasn't weak. Just because I wasn't putting out, you know, raw damage to these champions, the amount of damage I was able to absorb with the barricade was helping my team out tremendously. Not to mention the fact that I can actually heal my teammates up with the barricade, and I can generate super from the barricade, as well as heal them up with the noble rounds from Lumina. Because I have 100 resilience, that means that my barricade has a ton more hit points. You guys will see later on in the run that I was getting spammed and bombarded with wizard shots, and my barricade did not shatter. And then because I have 100 resilience, I'm able to have 2 barricades up because it's only on a 14-second cooldown. So having 2 barriers up at the same time is strong, because you can have one up, once it gets shattered, boom, you have another one there as a safety net almost. So I really enjoyed this build, and honestly I think that this will be pretty powerful in the raid, because I want to talk about how many supers I was getting. Whenever I popped my barricade near enemies, it actually gave a really good chunk of super energy. So I think running this in raids and stuff like that will actually be useful, because having your Titan bubble is just so valuable. It's like a safe haven for your teammates and yourself to hide out, and it provides weapons buffs for those DPS phases with the boss and whatnot. Right here I'm popping it, you guys are going to see I actually do some pretty good damage with my grenade launcher. Now if I had like Whisper or something like that, it would have been different, but again I am running Lumina, so I can't have 2 exotics. So I think, you know, maybe a linear fusion would have been better in this situation, but you know, whatever, I'll take it. So I really like this build. You guys should definitely try it out. And I have another Titan support build I'm gonna test, and I'll probably make a video of that in the future. That one's gonna be a little bit more on the offensive side. This is definitely a heavily defensive focused build because it's all about popping your barriers, or sorry, your barricades, and just providing utility with that, healing them up and generating orbs of light, more orbs of light from the Titan bubble. So definitely try this out and let me know what you guys think. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It really helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. Links are in the description below. I have a lot of crazy builds in there, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well follow my social media. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, both at @fat_bloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.